So our first question is, how does the Makerspace incorporate the arts into STEAM?
So yeah, I think makerspaces are a really good bridge for combining kind of arts and sciences and engineering and whatnot. A lot of people come in here, they just want to make something, right? They need something made, or they want to learn how to make something. Maybe there's two approaches usually. Is like, one is like you need something made. So say, you have this thing. Is this your guys's?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So like you need this thing made, and you don't have any idea on how to make it. Wow, that's really cool. So this is a really good example, because before there might not be a machine like a 3D printer where you can like just plug it in and do it on the computer and then have that made. So you'd have to like use machines and equipment to make that. So whatever design you had might not even be like possible to make. So you kind of got to get creative and a little bit artistic, and like, how am I gonna use the materials and the equipment that I have to make whatever this thing is that I want to make. So it's not really just all science. Like, everything doesn't have to really just make sense. You can just kind of go for whatever you're doing and try to make it happen.
Yeah, and so like you can come in here and talk to like people who have gone through the same thing that you're going through and have the experience and the know-how.
Definitely.
Of what to do.
Yeah, and that's another cool thing about just kind of the culture of the makerspace. Like, everyone's just working on their own thing. Someone might have experience in whatever machine or maybe material that you're trying to use to make your project. So they can kind of help you out. You can all kind of work together.
Yeah, of
and
course.
then like no designs are really that similar. Like, that's one of my favorite things about working here. Is someone will come in and be like, "Hey, I need to make this," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I've never made that before. Like, let's figure out what we're gonna make it out of. Like, what machine." Like, we're gonna definitely have to change some design things to like end up making it how you want it. So yeah, it's a collaborative process, helping each other out.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So our second question is, how did you personally get involved with this space?
So I got involved sophomore year. What's up, John? When I went to talk to Dr. Ree, the dean, about some other things, switching my major around and whatnot, and I had experience with 3D printing specifically. And she said, "Oh, we just opened up like brand new Makerspace." It was like right when it opened, and they needed someone to run the 3D printers. So she pretty much just referred me to who was in charge, and then I talked to her and got the position, started working on the 3D printers, and then from there I just started learning all the equipment in here. And yeah, I've been here since, just kind of doing the same thing.
So our third question is, what is a makerspace?
Oh, that's a good question. Everyone always asks that
Yeah.
question. There's no real like definition. Actually, for the presentation for this project that I can explain later, we have that same question. We typed it into Google and we put the results. And so it's a space where people share materials and knowledge and help each other learn, but also there's a community and culture of creativity and collaboration, and trying to kind of combine like all the aspects of STEAM to make whatever you got to make. So
Yeah. Cool.
So the fourth question is, why is it important that we have this space on campus?
yeah, well, I think there's a lot of reasons it's important. I personally love learning by doing, and I think a lot of people like to do that. Like, you can design something on the computer, like sketch something up, and then you may never make it. But when there's a space that you can actually make whatever that idea is that you have on a notepad, and then turn that into like a real object, it's a really cool experience to go through all that process. So I think it kind of motivates students to learn a little bit and kind of get their hands on, get some experience. And it also you get to do it with other people. You're not just doing it by yourself. Like, it's kind of that community that's helping you do it. So, yeah.
So our fifth question is, what skills have you taken away from your experience working here?
Oh, man, that's a good one too. Well, there's definitely all the technical skills. So like learning how machines work, like 3D printers or the water jet, or just like typical hand tools, things like that.
Dude, everything, huh?
Yeah, we have so much equipment in here. That would be
Laser
take
cutter
me
too,
forever.
right?
Yeah, laser cutter, CNC machines, power tools like saws and drills, all that stuff. Yeah, there's just countless tools that we use. So that's one thing on the technical side. But then also just kind of working in this type of environment where you're just helping other people and also like trying to get your project done. So being able to have a kind of community and a space to do that, I think is really, really important for like a educational space like college campus or something to have. So.
Yeah. Great.
Our sixth question is, what's one of your favorite memories or projects from working here?
So that segues into this project.
Yeah,
I can
sweet,
just start
dude.
talking about this.
Yeah.
So this I just cleared off the table because I'm working on it. It doesn't have all this stuff. Basically, what we're doing for this project, this is a senior project, but I've kind of been working on this like throughout my years here at San Jose. So 3D printing is really popular in our space and just in general. The industry is getting pretty big. That being said, plastic waste like this Starbucks cup is a big issue too. There's a lot of plastic waste generated, and then there's all those plastic pollution problems. So what we're trying to figure out is how can we reuse plastic for 3D printing, whether it's waste material or like say you're done with this and you don't want it anymore and someone could use this material to make something new. How can they reuse that? So we started coming up with ideas and researching what people have done, and we've created a few things. So first off, we got to break down the material. So we've been trying to find different methods. So we just use like a typical blender. And this kind of ties into another thing from Makerspace is kind of using the materials and resources that you have available instead of like trying to buy new things or make everything. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we just use this. So we've been shredding material up in this. You can kind of see some of the remains of some parts that we shredded up.
Definitely.
And then we are making an extruder machine, which basically heats up that plastic. So here's one of our prototypes. So you put the plastic material in the top right here, and then cap that off, and we have pressure fitting. I think it's in the other room, but that ties up to this compressor. So we get air pressure going into it. So it kind of creates a force to like push that material down and out. And then we have a heating element and a temperature sensor, so we can heat this up to the melting temp, and then control it over here. And then once you get that to temperature and you start putting pressure, it starts extruding plastic out. Like this stuff. This is some of our testing. So you basically just get like a string of plastic.
Oh, nice.
And that's exactly what 3D printers use to print with. So that goes right in the top. I think you have that.
You guys
other
made this
video.
already?
Yeah. So that's some of our.
That's great.
Our testing. The diameter is not perfect yet. There's little tweaks, but we're getting pretty close. So then that comes out. It goes through this little water bath. So we have like a pump underneath with some water that cycles some water through, and then it kind of just goes through that bath, cools it off and solidifies it. And then we have some other stuff that's not up here right now, but basically a motor that pulls that material out, and then another motor that winds it onto this, so it kind of loops it around and starts spooling it on there. And then you can take this and go put it on the printer and put it in there, and then it basically just reverses the cycle and prints whatever you're trying to print.
That's great.
So yeah, but I think this is a good project because like it ties into one of the machines that everyone uses is the 3D printers. But also we've scrapped a lot of these parts from the Makerspace, just trying to find things. Like this was an old project, this whole table. Like we didn't buy any of these parts, we just found these parts
That's
around
great, man.
and put this together. And then a lot of the motors and whatnot, like we have some boxes of different things we scrapped. Like this is from a machine that was going in the trash. I don't know what it was, but we just started taking it apart and taking motors and pulleys and gears and all that stuff off of it to use. So yeah, it kind of ties in a lot of the stuff that we do in here.
Great.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.